So having a mobile DJ service, what I like to do is offer customer service. Part of this customer service is offering potential clients a free consultation where I sit down and talk to them. They get to know me, I get to know them, kind of find out what they want to do. They ask me questions, I ask them questions. Usually most of the time I book these clients. But I've had two in the last week that I haven't felt real good about. One I didn't book at all, and I blame myself because what I didn't do is pre-qualify these folks before we even had a consultation. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The first client, I met with them on a Sunday at noon after I had gigged very late the night before. This was incredibly inconvenient for me, but the client was from out of state. They were in town. They had a very small window of opportunity to meet with me, and I agreed to it because I wanted to offer them customer service. Turns out the other DJ they were considering wouldn't even meet with them that day. Probably because they were gigging the night before and they were tired. But I'm like, hey, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this. We meet, we talk. I think it goes very well. And they end up booking the other DJ who they talked to on the phone that night because they underbid me by a few bucks. This was a price shopper, and I didn't pre-qualify them as a price shopper before we met. I'm not interested in underbidding anybody. And when it comes to pricing, I try to be as forthcoming as possible. I'll tell folks, for weddings, on the low end, it's $850. Usually on the higher end, it goes up to $1,500 or more. Most of my clients are somewhere in the middle between $1,000 and $1,200. It all depends on what your needs and wants are. Does that sound like something that you're willing to do? Is it in your budget, or are we wasting each other's time? Now, my other client, they wanted to meet last night at 6:30. That put me in rush hour traffic, and there was a storm yesterday. I had to rearrange my schedule to make this happen. I had a very busy day yesterday, but I made it happen. So they asked me this list of kind of standardized questions. I don't know if they pulled them from a magazine or a website or what, and I gave them some information. Not too much, but I gave them some info, showed them some pictures of some of the things that I've done. They got a price, and when the meeting was completed, I asked them, how many DJs have you met with? And they said 5. You're number 6. And the DJs that they had met with are some of the bigger DJ companies in town. I've heard of them. They're multi-ops. There was a single op in there too, I believe. But, you know, why haven't you booked any of these guys? Is it a price thing? Is it a personality thing? What is it? To make a long story short, they didn't commit to me either. So I have no idea. And the weird part about it was I was a referral. Somebody they knew had used me and they loved me. And what's going on? Why aren't you pulling the trigger on this? If you're not serious about booking my services and you just want to talk to every DJ in town and find out who they are, I don't even want to meet with you. You've got to be excited about what I'm bringing to the table before I want to meet with the client. But yeah, I need to do a better job at qualifying these people before I even have the consultation with them, especially when I'm the one doing the driving and they're setting the time. What do you think? Am I out of line, or am I onto something here? Let me know in the comments section. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Practice and enjoy.